Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Void. I'm Player One, and welcome back to Silent Hill, the play novel. Last time, we finished off Harry's entire flowchart, every ending. Some of them were weird, but we did it. And now, we can move on to the other part of the game, the part I'm most excited about, the Cybil story. From what I've heard, this isn't really gonna be like the same game, but from Cybil's point of view. It's gonna have like a lot of different stuff. So I'm quite excited to see what happens. We do still have multiple endings here, so I do have to get all those. But, yeah. I don't think the flowchart will be quite as extensive. I think there is less here. Let's just get into it. Oh. Hello? Hello? The phone had suddenly gone dead. She tried to call back right away. However, the call would not go through. Perfect. I wonder what's going on. Her coworker Sally saw Cybil's flushed face and could not help making a joke. It's because you're so hostile. I bet they just don't want to talk to you anymore. Hostile? Perhaps. After all, I do always say what's on my mind. Saying this, Cybil smiled. The peaceful town of Brahms. The population is small, and perhaps for this reason there's not been an incident worth calling an incident for several years. Okay. As for the officers on the night shift, they generally pass the time by staring at newspaper clippings or chatting with colleagues at other departments. Even now, with nothing notable appearing in the local news, Cybil was just having a meaningless conversation about this and that with a friend in the Silent Hill Police Department. But then suddenly, the line had gone dead. And they had not called back. Okay. Call won't go through. Maybe this is happening because someone is trying to tell you not to waste all your time chatting? How about settling down and taking your feet off the desk? Cybil does not care for Sally's big sister-like attitude. Oh damn, hang on. Cybil look kinda cold. Cybil calls the Silent Hill police station one more time. Odd, Cybil thought. It seems as if this might be the result of the telephone lines having been severed or something. Cybil leaps from her chair, causing it to spin, reaches for the helmet on top of a locker, and with it in hand prepares to leave the room. Wait, just where do you think you're going at this hour? Sally has a look of "you've got to be kidding" on her face, and then she absent-mindedly allows the coffee cup she was holding in her right hand to fall to the floor. Ah, this is hot! You can take care of that yourself. Cybil mumbles this in her head, and in the next moment ran out of the room. Cybil straddles the motorcycle in the garage, inserts the key, and revs the engine. The sound of the exhaust resonates in the small space. She pulls out onto the road, and increases her speed as she is bathed from head to toe in the uncomfortably warm wind. Starlight falls upon her from the clear starlit sky. It doesn't look like the weather could have caused the problem with the phone lines. Cybil tightly holds onto the handlebars and continues to increase her speed. At this hour, there should not be any other cars heading to Silent Hill. The road has been lit in front and behind only by street lamps since she reached this mountain road, and there is no sign of anyone in the area. However, after a while, she was able to see the taillights of a vehicle swaying far off in the darkness in front of her. There was a cliff on one side of the road. Whether they realize that or not, the vehicle is heading toward the same destination as Cybil at high speed. Normally I would pull this guy over. Cybil mutters this, increases her speed, and catches up with the four-wheel drive Jeep in no time. As she passes it, Cybil glances inside the Jeep for a moment, quickly smiles, and then blasts in front of it. The Jeep quickly becomes smaller and smaller in the side mirrors of her motorcycle. And then, she started to notice that she could not keep her eyes focused. Sleepiness. No, I've been on the night shift for a while, and should have gotten plenty of sleep this afternoon. Her body becomes one with the motorcycle, and it slices through the darkness. It Maybe it was foolish to wear short sleeves. Although it was rather warm when Cybil left the station, now her skin feels so cold that it is like the cold is cutting into her. Her eyelids are heavy, her mouth has become dry. What's wrong with me? She lightly shakes her head left and right. Against her will, her right hand turns the grip that will cause her to accelerate. The needle is buried, and madly shakes back and forth. Cybil then stares straight forward. But it was already too late. In the middle of the road, a girl stood, with her arms raised to shield her from the light. Oh boy. Cybil slammed on the brakes. The last thing she saw was the rapidly approaching rock wall on the side of the road. Ita? Excuse me? Something cold is touching Cybil's cheek. Cybil slowly opened her eyes. Am I? She's not yet able to stand up. She does not seem to be hurt. However, her body will not do as she commands. Nevertheless, she is fully conscious. Large snowflakes are falling all over her body. She's lying face down in the middle of a wide street. I wonder just how long I've been here like this. After waiting for the nerves throughout her body to return to normal, Cybil lumbered to her feet. Her body was sluggish, like when she wakes up. She was unable to think straight. Silent Hill. That is what is written on the sign in the sidewalk. In addition to the out-of-season snow, the area is enveloped in thick fog, which generally makes her destination look differently than it normally would. The motorcycle that she came here on was also nowhere to be found. With nothing else to do, she decided to rest in the cafe facing the street. The inside of the cafe is dead silent. She does not see any customers or employees. This destroys her hopes of getting something warm to drink, so she lets out a sigh. First, I must get in contact with the other officers back in Brahms. Cybil picks up the receiver from the phone on the corner of the counter, but not a single sound can be heard from the speaker. It seems like somehow the heavy snowfall, which could be called abnormal weather, has damaged the communication systems. There's no doubt that this is the reason why the call got cut off at the Brahms station. Why is Brahms in parentheses? Cybil looks around the inside of the cafe. She gasps without thinking about it. She can see a man lying down on one of the long bench seats lined up along the windows. Customer? No, this place isn't open. She moves near him and looks down at his sleeping face. His face is twisting in agony, as if he is having a frightening dream. Cybil hesitates. I don't know yet which choices are important. This doesn't seem like one. I'll wake him up. Wait, maybe I can see the flowchart already. I can. Okay, so one. Oh, I can't move right. That is something I wasn't expecting, so I can't even see how many chapters there are. Oh well. Cybil approaches the man and holds her arms out in a way that suggests that she is going to shake his shoulders. At that moment, the man woke up with a look of surprise on his face. He shook his body in a way to brush Cybil's hands away, and then stared at her. Human? Are you human? Cybil makes an effort to compose herself and then sits down on a nearby chair. Of course I am. Are you having a bad dream or something? The man finally regains his composure as well, and then he adjusts his position on the bench seat. Sorry. I was attacked by mysterious monsters before I came here. Mysterious monsters? Yeah. It may have been just a dream. I think that it was real. It was all vague and unclear. Who are you? I'm Cybil Bennett. I'm a police officer in the neighboring town of Brahms. All communication with this town suddenly went dead, so I came here to investigate. Harry's expression changed slightly to one of relief. I should have said so sooner, but I'm Harry Mason. I'm a writer. I had decided to come here for my first vacation in a while. Harry shrugged his shoulders and looked at Cybil with a serious look on his face. When I arrived here, I got separated from my daughter. She's a little girl, 7 years old, with black hair. Her name is Cheryl. You haven't seen her, have you? Sorry, but I haven't. I see. Just where did she go? He's not the type to just act on her own. When I came to, I was lying in the street in front of this cafe. As for how I got here, I don't remember at all. It sounds a lot like what happened to me. Well, anyway. Harry stands up and glances at the out-of-season snow that continues to fall. I've got to look for Cheryl. There's no way I can just leave her here alone. I see. Well, I'll give you this then. You never know what might happen under these circumstances. If you feel threatened, then pull the trigger without hesitating. She gives Harry a handgun loaded with live ammunition. But you... will you be alright? Harry asks worriedly. I'm not like the average girls around here. I've undergone the proper training. Sybil placed her hand on the exit door, but then she turned and faced Harry again. Harry, don't go shooting me by mistake or anything. I haven't had any training on how to stop bullets. She smiled after saying this, opened the door of the cafe, and then headed out into the thick fog. Okay. Now, what has she gotten up to? Sybil looks back and sees that the cafe has disappeared into the fog. Having lost her motorcycle, Sybil can only wander about on foot and alone in the eerie town. It's too quiet. There's no sense of anyone at all. I'd like to hail a taxi or something, but there's not a single car running. At some point, Sybil had begun to run. Above all, she must get out of Silent Hill. However, after running for a bit, Sybil's hopes were crushed. All the roads leading out of town were cut off, and it was as if the entire town was floating in the air. There was no way for anyone to enter the town. Sybil sighs deeply. She then decides to try going back the way she came. After running for a bit, she comes to another steep valley like before. It is wide and impedes her passage. And then she became sure that it was not possible to escape from this place. Sybil felt like a bird in a cage as she walked apathetically and aimlessly through the falling snow. It was not long before a black, wriggling object appeared in her field of vision. What is that? From off in the fog, a four-legged thing moved at a slow pace as it gradually closed the distance between it and her. And then as soon as it detected Sybil, it began to ferociously run toward her, scattering the fog as it moved. The monster. Oh. I can just say what happens. Okay, so I'm not telling Sybil what to do. I'm just saying what happens. Well, I don't want her to get attacked. The monster just ran away. The monster just moves right past Sybil and then continues away from her. Clearly it's headed somewhere with some purpose. Various concerns run through the back of Sybil's mind. Instinctively, she begins to chase after the monster. Why the fuck would you... However, its speed is fast, and it does not appear possible for Sybil to be able to catch up to it. Additionally, the thick curtain of fog is also making her pursuit difficult. Sybil continues to run for a while, but ends up completely losing sight of her target. She stops and leans against an antique lamppost and presses on her chest. She waits as the time between her continuous white breaths gradually increases, and then begins walking again. Sybil, another choice, wow. I could just make her be overcome with hopelessness this early? No, let's say she calms herself down. Being unable to escape from Silent Hill, Sybil then worried about what she should do next. Since all the people have vanished, she cannot even talk to anyone about what is happening here. I should look for the police station. Even if the person I was talking on the phone with earlier isn't there, I might be able to get some other information there. He has visited this town many times. Following the thread of her memory, he begins walking along the complicated intersecting streets. So how long have I been walking? As she saw the word police appear from out of the fog, her entire body was completely exhausted. She opens the glass door at the entrance and heads inside. As she does this, she sees that no one is here, which is just as she had expected. The lack of any sound is painful to her ears. After she walked around the reception area for a bit, she moved toward a room that the door had been left open for. The plate beside the door says meeting room. Compared to the same room at the Brom station, this one is quite small. She looked around this room. Ah, Oh. The phone is off the hook, or someone is here? Well, I kinda wonder who would be here. Cybil senses someone, somewhere in this small room. Underneath the lined-up tables, behind the folding chairs, Cybil cautiously checked all the places that someone could hide in, but it does not appear that anyone is here. A faded ceiling fan is blowing air down towards Cybil. That might have been what made her so sure someone was here. Perhaps it was just her imagination. She's uneasy. She wants to talk to someone, to anyone. These feelings might be what made Cybil think that someone was here. What was that all about? Cybil left the police station. Cybil is once again in the city streets where the snow is falling. That's right. Cybil recalled her conversation with Harry. Oh yeah, Cybil, you haven't seen a little girl, darling? Oh, yes, Cheryl. I wonder if I'll be able to rescue her unharmed in this town which has become a nest of monsters. But Cybil is a police officer. Find and protect Cheryl is her responsibility and her mission. Realizing this, Cybil could not sit still, and the next moment she was gone. It should be an elementary school on the edge of town. Cybil followed her intuition and decided that Cheryl probably headed for the school after wandering around town. Per her training in child psychology, she has learned that if a child loses their parents or guardian, then a chance is high that they will be drawn to places that they are most used to going, places where there are a lot of people. However, ahead of all her knowledge, either a bit instinctively or due to a sense similar to that of a memory coming back, she believed somewhere within her heart that Cheryl was probably at the elementary school. Cybil may have been drawn here by someone. As she nears the elementary school, part of her shirt becomes soaked with clammy sweat. Is it really okay to go inside? She asked herself this many times. As she reached the edge of the school grounds, her conscientious sense of duty as a police officer rose up within her along with her sense of reason, and she began to walk naturally towards the school. It is now too late for her to turn back. She readies herself, and then using both hands, she pushes the door in front of her open with all her strength. The aged building reeked of peculiar mildew. However, its insides were much cleaner than she had expected, and Cybil found this a bit surprising. Perhaps it was just the result of her enduring the cold wind for so long, but she had a terrible headache. Cybil pressed her fingers to her temples, and eventually began to walk aimlessly again. Cybil opened a door leading to a long hallway. She looked through the glass windows placed in the doors of the classrooms while slowly walking. There was no sign of Cheryl. The courtyard is to her right. The landscaping is very nice and has been well cared for. The snow has become sleet. It does not look like it will accumulate. In the back of the courtyard there is an old-feeling clock tower. However, Cybil is not particularly interested in it. I wonder how Harry's doing. I wonder if the gun I gave him has come in handy. I cannot meet with Harry after I find Cheryl, and it will be meaningless. We should have made plans to rendezvous somewhere. Cybil thought this, but at this point nothing could be done. At any rate, it was her horrible headache, gradually getting worse, dulling her sense of time and space. A sluggishness similar to sleepiness grasps her entire body. Perhaps I'm just dreaming all of this, Cybil thought. It is difficult for a person to tell whether they are dreaming or not while in a dream. For her to accept these conditions is just as difficult. She has no memory of how she got to this town, so it seemed natural for her to think that she's been in a deep sleep since the moment of the motorcycle accident until now. Possibly from even before then. From the time of the phone call with the Silent Hill police station. Or maybe... While contemplating the many possibilities, Cybil climbed the stairs to the second floor of the school. And then... a scream or a melody? Go for a melody on a piano. And then she heard a melody being played on a piano from one of the classrooms. A nervous look ran across Cybil's face, and at the same time she felt relief. As if being drawn by the sound of the piano, Cybil cautiously moves toward the room that the music is coming from, while feeling along the wall with her hand. Music room. That is what is written on the door. The beautiful melody is definitely being played by someone in this room. Cybil places her hand on the door. At that moment, The music suddenly stopped. The area was enveloped in silence. "Who's there?" She says this and then opens the door. Inside the center of the room, a grand piano has been placed. The piano appears cramped within the cozy room. No one is sitting in front of the piano. Cybil approaches the piano. Its cover is open and the blacks and whites on the keyboard stand out, almost like smoke. The player of the piano appears to have vanished into thin air. "Strange," Cybil mutters. Behind the curtains, under the piano, Cybil looked in all the places in the room that a person could hide. There's only one entrance to this room. There's no other way to enter this room other than by using the door that Cybil just came through. They jump out of the window? No, this is the second floor. Falling from here would result in more than just an injury. Having become a little spooked, she turned to leave the room. In the next instant, Cybil's heart nearly stopped. At the entrance to the music room, a white-faced girl was sitting still and just looking at Cybil. She appeared to be afraid of something, and her wide eyes were filled with tears that looked like jewels. "Cheryl? Are you Cheryl?" Cybil regained her composure and approached the little girl. She kneeled and softly placed her hands on the girl's shoulders. The girl nodded. "My name is Cybil. Your daddy is looking for you. If you don't hurry back to him, your daddy is braving danger running around this town. Have you seen that ferocious-looking monster?" Cybil thought of the monster that she had seen in town as she spoke. "Cheryl. No or yes?" Let's go for no? I don't necessarily know what this would mean. I see. Well, at any rate, something strange is happening in this town. All the people have completely vanished. If we don't get out of here soon, then we might disappear as well. Once again, Cheryl shakes her head no. Cybil does not understand what Cheryl means, but continues anyway. "I will protect you. Let's go to your daddy. It's my duty to take you to him." Saying this, Cybil takes Cheryl's hand in hers, and they leave the music room. By chance, the two of them happen to look out a window. From where they are, the visible courtyard has become completely enveloped in darkness. For it to become night so soon. For a moment, Cybil cannot believe her eyes, but then she was only able to worry about whether she would be able to meet Harry. The two of them walk down the pitch-black hallway. Because of the difference in their strides, their footsteps overlap as they echo. At the moment they approached the entrance to the school grounds, Cheryl spoke directly for the first time. I don't want to live here. I don't want to see my daddy. If we meet, there will be sadness. You should go back, ma'am." Cybil stopped walking and spoke while just staring at Cheryl. "It's your daddy. There's no reason that it would be sad for you to see him. If you stay here, then you might get hurt or worse. Things would then be truly sad." Saying that, Cybil begins walking again. After a bit, she stops and adds, "It's miss, not ma'am." And then the two of them left the school. So what time is it now? Cybil curses the fact that she forgot her watch at the Brahms station. It's probably late at night. She no longer feels the headache or sleepiness from just before. Holding Cheryl's cold hand, Cybil focuses her mind on locating Harry. She figured that Harry was no longer in the cafe, but wonders if maybe he left a memo or something there for her. Compared to Harry, Cybil should know the geography of Silent Hill better because of her profession. However, because of the darkness and thick fog that limit her field of vision, she's in a situation in which it is difficult to know even her current position. She had encountered a strange monster on her way to the school, so now she did not have much confidence in being able to find her way back to the cafe. The sky began to get light while Cybil walked and contemplated the route to the cafe. This made her think that perhaps time is rapidly passing in this town alone. Although the fog was present as ever to decrease visibility, she could see a lot better now. And then, before she knew it, the cafe was right in front of her. Something isn't right. Cybil feels a sense of discord within her. However, her feet continued on, as if guided by strong power, to the inside of the cafe. What the hell? Cybil led Cheryl through the entrance of the cafe. The inside of the cafe had been ravaged. The glass windows facing the street were broken, and several tables were knocked on their sides, so Cybil could not move any further in. Oh my god. I wonder if Harry's alright. A red pool of liquid reflects vividly in Cybil's eyes. She prayed that it was not Harry's blood. Harry, it's me. It's Cybil. I found Cheryl. If you are here, then please come out. There is no answer. Cybil had begun to step forward, but then gasped with an Just what is this? The corpse of a brown-colored monster that Cybil has never seen before lies in the center of the pool of red liquid. Several shells were scattered about, which meant that Harry probably had a battle here. Big battle. Since Harry was no longer here, she guessed that he defeated this monster and then left to search for Cheryl. Is he hurt? Cybil? I guess began to search. Thinking that perhaps there was a memo, Cybil began her search with a counter. However, there did not appear to be anything there. Maybe Harry left her in a hurry after being attacked by the monster. Cybil looked at Cheryl. With the bloody scene in front of her, Cheryl was surprisingly calm. Time to time, she looked out the window as if she were concerned about something. Well, your daddy's not here. Let's look somewhere else. Cybil took Cheryl's hand, and without a word, they rushed out into the snowy street once again. Ding dong! A church bell is ringing. The bell rings forcefully, almost as if it had been waiting for them to leave the cafe. There are still other people here. Sybil's eyes glittered. This might be Harry's way of telling me where he is. And even if it is not Harry, if there is someone still here in town, then she would like to meet them and hear what they have to say. Sybil's feet naturally pointed towards the church, expecting to find a clue to escaping and reuniting with Harry. She tightly gripped Cheryl's hand and began to run. Once they arrived at the church, the ringing stopped, and the large door at the entrance began to open from the inside. Cybil then thought that perhaps someone had been watching her movements all this time. She looked up at the top of the church, and then began to look around nervously until a voice saying, "This way," brought her back to her senses. Oh my god, it's the big. Cybil faced the eerie woman from a distance. The woman once more called out to Cybil. "This way." Cybil mysteriously moved towards the woman. "Were you the one ringing that bell?" Onomatopoeia for a chuckle. The woman's face suddenly twisted and she began laughing loudly. She saw Cybil's perplexed expression, but thought nothing of it and just waved her hand left and right in front of Cybil's face. "I have been waiting for you. You have come just as I expected." Cybil cocked her head to the side. "You live here?" The woman nodded and then looked at Cheryl. "You have done well to come here. You know, don't you? It was my doing that caused. You were hesitant to come alone, weren't you? In the end, I was able to meet you. It is all thanks to that woman." "I don't understand what you're talking about." Sybil's words may or may not have reached her, but that woman began to laugh loudly again. "Hey, tell me, why are there no people here? Why are all the exits from town blocked?" "I do not know either, but shouldn't you be asking that girl instead?" Cybil had a look of "what?" on her face. She looked at Cheryl. Cheryl's face was tearful, and she shook her head back and forth. Cybil looked back at that woman and shouted at her, "Stop all this nonsense. We've been pursued by monsters and nearly killed. If I was not protecting this child, then who knows what would have happened to her by now." "Path of the wise men, the fool guided to this land through astrology. Everything has been preordained. There is nothing that I can do. You are not holding that child's hand. That child is holding yours." Her anger showing, Cybil went to open her mouth, but that moment the woman blocked her. "I am Dahlia Gillespie. Fat in hand, I wonder where you will end up going. I have nothing for you, and nothing to tell you. You must escape from the demon's grasp as soon as possible. You must find the means to do so for your own sake. There is nothing I can do now. I will pray for your safety. Cybil Bennett." Cybil was shocked to be called by name. As she watched Dahlia quickly depart, she was unable to speak. After Dahlia disappeared behind a door, Cybil regained herself. She tightly held Cheryl's hand, and they left the church. Okay. Okay. And with that, I'll end it there. Okay, okay. So far, this is kinda interesting. I like it, I like it. Not much has happened. We've seen one monster, seen one, but I do like how, doing things differently. And of course, she went to the police station. That was a place in the game, but I guess it wasn't a mandatory place because there was not really much in there. But it makes sense that she would go there. Let's see. Let's look at the flowchart. Chapter 6, apparently. And there's been like a lot of choices that actually feel important. So I do like that. I wonder how long this will go. In chapter 6, I think Harry had like 16? I don't know. But I'm very excited to see where this goes. Alright. I've been Player One. And I'll see you next time when we hopefully get an ending. Maybe. I don't think this should be as long as Harry's, so we'll just see. Bye bye.